everybody, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Great to be back from Scope.
Very great.
Getting out of the clouds, right? Where at these conferences they just talk about things in the clouds, abstract things. There are some practical takeaways which I'm going to get into in this video. It comes from a question I received while at Scope, talking about some things research sites should know and be prepared about when it comes to risk-based monitoring. So I'm out of the kind of ivory tower world, and I'm back here at one of the clinics with Adrian. Adrian's a coordinator at Global Clinical Trials in Irvine, California. So yeah, risk-based monitoring was a huge topic. It's interesting. I was on a few panels where we discussed risk-based monitoring. I did a presentation on how virtual workspaces can affect risk-based monitoring. So let's just get a layman's perspective on what risk-based monitoring is from a study coordinator. So what you've heard about risk-based monitoring, what do you think it is? What does that mean to you? Because most people don't even know what that means.
So risk-based monitoring is basically monitoring which is risk-based. The monitor will check only certain charts with certain sections, and then they will check other charts with other sections, and they're not checking your whole chart. So you got to go through all your charts to make sure everything is done correctly. If they note that this, say, inclusion exclusion is not documented correctly, then you have to go through every chart and check all your inclusion exclusion. Just procedures wise as well. They're only checking probably like 2 of your charts, and you got to check the rest of them. You got to make sure everything is correctly filled out. You got to, it's a little bit more work for you
As a site, right?
Yeah, as a site, but it's risky. Basically, it's risky for the monitor as well, and it's risky for your site. So I mean, it puts more work on yourself as a coordinator, but yeah. I mean, it helps you out to learn and to basically check and double check your work, and it trains you on that.
Yeah, it puts more of the burden of QA, quality assurance, I think, on the site. So the monitors come in, they're trained to look at processes versus like 100% source data verification.
Yeah.
So if they notice something wrong with one of your processes, maybe it's informed consent process, or maybe it's how you're randomizing subjects, maybe there's some risk involved there, then they're going to focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
But that means that time that they would have spent looking at other stuff is going to be gone, right?
Yeah.
It's all going to be focused on those risk-based activities. So now the burden is on the site to make sure that they have QA systems in place, because if the FDA comes in, and they can come in unannounced now, they can just knock on your door. If they come in, they don't care if it's risk-based monitoring or not. The PI and ultimately the coordinator, it's their responsibility to make sure that the study is being conducted with a good clinical practice. Whether a monitor looked at those charts or not is not their concern.
It has to be done the correct way.
Mm-hmm. So some of the fallout from risk-based monitoring, and first of all, most sites won't even know whether a study is going to be risk-based monitoring or not,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Unless you ask.
Unless you ask, yeah.
So at the site selection visit, or maybe the initiation visit, you can ask, hey, what's the monitoring plan for this study? We want to know, because if we're going to be required to scan and upload documents, guess what? The coordinator has to spend more time scanning and uploading documents. This is rather tedious work, rather than, and that takes away from seeing patient visits, right?
More
so you may need to hire a data manager, which is kind of like what Eddie is here.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So scan, upload, enter data in the EDC. These are all tasks that are entry level, but are great for building up someone's experience to eventually become a coordinator.
Yes.
Right? So that's one of the fallouts of risk-based monitoring that sites should know, is having a data manager on site. So QA, you need to have strong QA systems. You need to have a data manager. You need to, if you're a site, really start thinking about the adverse events that you're reporting. Because if you're under-reporting, that's a red flag, right? It's a red flag that would indicate fraud, which nobody wants to be accused of.
Your site will be audited.
You're guaranteed an audit. And also, if you over-report AEs, they may see that as a training issue. Like maybe you don't understand what an adverse event is.
Yeah.
Maybe you're being hypervigilant. Or maybe other sites are just underreporting. So a lot of this still remains to be seen, but the bottom line is metrics are being kept on site performance, key performance indicators. So not just recruitment, retention, screen failures, but how quickly do you answer queries, right? How
Yes.
quickly is data entered in the EDC, and how frequently should that be done?
Should be done 2 or 3 days after the visit.
Max, right?
Max, yeah.
Yeah. So now you're going to be judged on not just enrollment numbers, retention numbers, but queries. How many do you get? Protocol deviations for sure. Adverse events you're reporting. Absolutely everything that can keep stats on your site will be critiqued on those things, and sponsors are sharing this information with other sponsors through the Transcelerate initiative and a whole bunch of other stuff. So a lot of interesting developments out of scope. A lot of these things we already knew, but we went from just talking about these things to now actually seeing them out in the wild. And as 2016 turns into 17 and 18 and 19, and this is going to become commonplace, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Adrian. Thanks for coming on
No
today.
problem.
Nice to be back, and thank you guys for watching. Make sure you follow on Snapchat, Dan Sfera. And do you want people following you on Snapchat or no?
Sure.
What's your Snapchat?
AD Mobster24.
Mobster.
Mobster.
Wow.
Follow me on the Snap.
That's right. Snapchat, get at Adrian, get at Dan, and also all the other social networks. If you need consulting help, call or text 949-415-6256. You can also email me, Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thanks for watching. Take care.